the top of the paragraph, the paragraph that b'chol zeh. Ach, however, b'chol zeh, despite all this, namely, despite the fact that actually the entire creation is actually sourced and caused directly by the Ora Makif. As we explained with the Mesholim and all that, the Makif is the real significance in the entire creation. Without the Makif, the things that are creation are out of place. And being out of place means it is lacking a sense of reality, a sense of being. Where are you? What are you doing? So the Makif is not only a source, but it is actually the direct cause. It gives meaning to the entity that is there created. And the entity that is created relates to the Makif and says, okay, this is my definition, this is what I stand for. B'chol zeh, despite all this, hamshochas hoye Makif u'piolosim hu b'helam. The bringing forth of the Makif, and furthermore the pu'ula, the effect of the presence of the Makif, remains behelam, remains unobtrusive. We do not really feel it and recognize its presence. And this will be discussed now. Shal shum zeh, where for that reason, and to represent this principle, nikro sevav u'makif. This is why it is called sevav u'makif, just hovering and surrounding, because it remains behelam. You can be completely oblivious to it, despite all the things that you have that are caused by it. You can be completely oblivious to it. The hagam, for although shezehu iker hamokim hasiba l'chol dover, for although that this is in fact the principal source, not only a source but a direct cause of for everything that entails, as we discussed it in the Misholim. Mekom yet still nikro makif levad is still called only makif, hovering over and surrounding it, not being directly involved, makif, not being directly involved, but giving it a possibility to be, but not being directly involved. Lefi shehu behelem, because that it is behelem. It is in a concealed, it is an unobtrusive, an unexperienced manner, inexperienced manner. It is in the background, but you don't really touch it, you don't really relate to it, identify with it. As it says in Tanya. The Tanya explains, there also leimer, that what do we mean by the term Seibur Makib? Seibur Makib milmaylo, that it is surrounding from above, meaning not being directly involved internally, but from above, leinyan, with respect to, in what respect is it just above? B'chinas gilei hashpo, with respect to the union of gilei hashpo, of the recognition of the hashpo. Ki, because hashpo, this is what the Rebbe explains, hashpo, because the type of that kind of hashpo, shehi b'chinas gilui be'iloms, that is in the manner of gilui, that is recognized in the worlds. That worlds directly relate to Nikrad b'shem halbosha. That hashpah is called with the term, defined with the term of hashbosha, of being encompassed. Bosha means dressed in, encompassed and identified with the world. Shemislabeshes bo'ilomis, which means that it is focused on the world.
Hashbasha?
Halbosha.
Halbasha, like enclosed.
Yeah, it's right here.
Malbish. Yeah.
Malbish Arumim. Habosha bi'elomis, mislabeshes bo'ilomis. This hashpah is mislabish in the world. Mislabish, we'll still, you're not finished with that. Kiheim, because they, the world, malbishim, they enclothe, umasigim ha'hashpah shemekabel, and they fully comprehend the hashpah, the gift that they receive. It is something that they can accept and process. Directly. We're not finished yet. We'll come a few more words, and then we'll have the terminology. Masha in Cain, in contrast, whereas, which is different, hashpah she'ein b'bchinas gilui, a hashpah that is not b'bchinas gilui, that is not in a manner of gilui. It is actually absolutely effective, but it does not come forth and identify itself. Elo, rather, behester v'heler, the hashpah that remains in a concealed state, manner. The worlds are not comprehending and recognizing and relating to it. That hashpah is not referred to as mislabeshes, of being imbued and encompassed and enclosed in the world. It remains. It is referred to only as makefes v'sebebes. Makefes means it surrounds it. It provides the world with its existence and so forth, but it itself remains aloof from the world. V'hainu, which means to say, that the very fact that the oir haseviv, that this supreme oir that encompasses everything, nimtzo, is present, b'chol mokoim, everywhere, in every crack and crevice of the existence. The oir haseviv permeates there. Upoyel b'chol mokoim, furthermore, it has an effect everywhere. And this effect is obvious because this effect of the Ohr HaSeviv is what gives everything in the world a presence, an ability to be. And yet still, this piula is not bibechinas. Please understand the word bechina over here. It's not in a manner of hislapshus, of enclothing, of being identified, oy bekeli, like an oil in a keli. Lies musok boyelomis, so that it would be comprehended and identified within the worldly context. Oy bekeli, this is what I was waiting for, that we should be able to focus on. Yislapius oyer bekli. What is Oibikeli mean? What does it represent? It's a very common term. We have counted it many times. The oir is the hashpo is the Indian that is being supplied. Let's take a very simple illustration, an example that we've discussed many times. Water. Water is something which is a necessity for life in the world. Yet, you cannot partake of water by jumping into a lake. That will be counterproductive. That will not be a supply of life for the person or for anything in the world. What then is the manner that the water becomes a source, a supporter of life? When it's put in a keli. What is the keli itself? The keli is made of material that is on the worldly level. The keli can be taken into hand without touching the water. It is a presentor of the water in the worldly arena, in the worldly manner, so that now you can actually bring the water into a useful state through by the keli, by the means that is suitable for this world. In order to be suitable in this world, it has to be a tangible entity made of the material of the world itself. And in that you put water. Do you mind if I drink or not?
Yes, you made a.
Thank you. This oil bikeli is a profound statement which consists in saying that I'm presenting you something of superior quality. But because it is of a superior quality, I have to place it into a container via which I can present it to you. The container is of your level, within your orientation. Seichel, as we spent many times, Seichel is a divine presence in the Nefesh Odom. The very phenomenon that we understand with Seichel is a divine miracle. We discussed it many times. But how do we actually bring the Seichel down to us? Via words and letters, which are designed and presented in such a manner that it's a tangible manner in the world itself. A word consists of several letters, and each letter is an entity unto itself. You cannot say a word without the composite of letters. And this composition of letters is what enables the word to be presented to our mind, to our thought, within a worldly context. Without that presentation, we would be completely oblivious to it. This placing this thought into words and letters is called mislabish v'elomis. It's called mislabish. Why it's called mislabish? Because it's giving cognizance to the means by which you communicate in the world itself, on the world of you. Forget about what I'm telling you. I'm just using the means by which I can touch you. That's mislabish. I want to present this to you, but in order to present to you, I have to descend down to the level of to a physical state that will touch you. You can't avoid. If I touch you, you know I'm touching you. If I'm talking to you or I'm thinking, you may not be aware of it. But if I touch you, that is this is within your reality. Then this is when it becomes real. Through this touch, through these letters and words, I can reach and I can present to you a thought that is completely beyond your level. But because I'm presenting it through these words and letters, and you decipher these words and letters, this brings the thought to your mind. Just like the water is being served to you in the cake. This is called hislapshus. Namely, what is hislapshus? I mean, I am paying attention. Who am I talking to? And I completely understand and recognize the state and the limits and the level of that to which I'm addressing. And I'm considering how do I present this thought to that level. And I'm going to speak exclusively on those terms. This is called mislapshus. Then the recipient will actually recognize what's being given to him. Such as, I'm giving a full all the way to the end. You can learn Torah. Torah is Hashem. And take that Torah at the level where where all you know is the letters. And it's part of Torah. Or even the words, and you're saying Torah. The words are still worldly presences, on worldly presence. You may be saying the words without even knowing what they stand for. And you're saying words of Torah. Because the Torah came down to the level of the world, and mislabish in it. Mislabish in it means identifying what are the means by which the world communicates within itself, And this is how the Torah is being presented in the world. This is called Gilui. This Gilui, this is the after the Hislapshus, the Pnimi that comes through. The Oir Leki, that initiates this whole process. Is completely remains in oblivion. Remains aloof. You teach a child cleanliness. Very, very simple and very mundane level. Cleanliness. That before you go eat, you have to have your hands clean. This cleanliness represents different slew of things. At the lowest level, because dirty hands contaminate your food. You're going to eat, but there's dirty food is not edible. The ultimate point that you want to present and teach a child is not only that the food shouldn't be dirty, but that he should eat with self-respect, with dignity as a human being, not like an animal. And you should make him bracha before he eats. And you should recognize where the food comes from and what the food stands for. This is way above the state of the child at the point when you first start off. But you begin by telling him, wash your hands. At that point he sees clearly the difference between a dirty hand and a clean hand. And this begins to impress upon him the significance of cleanliness versus dirt. And the significance of how a human being touches food and how an animal touches food. He sees the cat eating from the floor. In order to present to him that supreme recognition, you have to go down to his level and be mislavish and talk to him at the level where he is at the time, at the moment when you first start. And the starting point is, don't eat with dirty hands. Look what happens to your food when you touch it with dirty hands. That's it. But really, this is the beginning that leads him to a much superior perception. But this superior perception is on the makif level at that stage. The union of dignity, human dignity and self-respect, he doesn't know what you're talking about. But with this hislapshus, by you relating to him at this level, eventually you can raise him up to that level. Why? Here's the key. Because he possesses that level. In his neshama, he possesses that level. He's oblivious because he's in the world. But this is what the neshama is. And slowly but surely, you reveal that quality from him, in him, by starting from washing your hands. This is called hislapshus ba'olam. You go down to the level of the world and start talking about clean food, and you have in mind to raise him to a completely different perspective. This hashpah that starts off by saying eat clean, wash your hands clean, this hashpah comes from the soivev, comes from the supreme reality. How do we know that? You know it's very simple. Because only a human being becomes aware of it, and the cat is not aware of it. It's also eating the same food from the floor. Why? Because the cat does not have that quality within its soul. Lahavdil. To the hashpah that is the gilui, that is being recognized in the world, is called mislabeshes ba'olam. It actually it presents itself in the garments of this world. Hashpah that is not begili a behester is not nikra mislabeshes or makefes. It is actually there, but it is hovering above. It is absolutely there, but it is not recognized. And it takes a whole slew of gyrations until it begins to be recognized. Okay, so we are on the line that begins with the word ba'olam. This which is not the hislapshus oy bekeli is called soivev. Makefes u'soivevus. It is not within the world. It's there, but it's not recognized. It's not tangibly identified by worldly means, by keli. U'kamaimer, and as the saying is, Tikkun Hazeh, Leis machshavot tfisu beiklal. Thought, there is no thought that can grasp in him at all. There is no thought, and translate it exactly again. There is not a thought that grasps in him, meaning the guide himself, klal, at all. I want to translate these words as a start. Thought, speech, and deed. These are the three qualities, what's called the execution level, the practical level. In order that there should be thought, there has to be seichel, or midas, there has to be something in thought. Speech is a step later, and deed is a step later. An action that does not have a significance is not an action. So thought, speech, and deed, this is the three levels of actualization of that which exists in the neshama, in the life element, in the godly reality. To bring that down, the godly reality, into the world arena, he has to go through these three stages of thought, speech, and deed. Thought is the superior of the three. Deed is the final. What is so unique? Oh, we have some time. What is so unique? What is what is the definitive aspect of these three qualities of thought, speech, and deed? Prior to thought, speech, and deed, you have seichel and midas. And yet we distinguish seichel and midas from thought, speech, and deed. To the extent we say seichel and midas is kochas hanefesh. Thought, speech, and deed is a levushim. These are garments. These are means by which we're presenting what's in the seichel. But this is not the real thing. What is distinguishing factor between the koiches hanefesh and the levushi hanefesh, what's called thought, speech, and deed? As we already pointed out, the koiches hanefesh originate and represent nefesh. Nefesh quality. The element of life itself, of nefesh itself. The levushim, this is how nefesh is being presented in the world and the world arena. Thought, speech, and deed are already means by which these koiches are to be identified within the worldly parameters. You are taking something from the world, a keli, a material from the world, and you're placing your neshama's sense into this keli. This is thought, speech, and deed. We should go through the whole all three stages, but I'm not going to do it because this is not something novel to us. We all understand thought, despite the fact that thought is an internal process of the person, but thought is not an internal process from the neshama. Thought is when the enemy to the neshama is to be recognized in a group level, in a group state. The expression is always thinking about something. Because that which you're thinking about, this is what motivates your thought. This is what the thought is recognizes, is bringing forth. The thought itself is of the quality of the world within which you function. Although it is still internal to the person, to the thought. It is not deed, not even speech, but this is the beginning of that process. Thought is on the world level. Seichel and midas are on the neshama level. That's why thought is called the levusha garment.
Can from thought go straight to
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. Can
what?
From thought go straight to masa? Sometimes you don't need a dibber.
I don't understand. Yeah.
Can thought go straight to Maisa? You don't seem to always need dibur.
No, it always goes through dibur. It doesn't go through actual dibur, but it goes to the level of dibur. It has to be first identified in a manner that you can express what you're going to do. Whether you actually go through the process of expressing it or not. What?
For that is thought enough. You express it in your thought.
No. When expressing your thought, I'm going to pick this up. That's deed. That's speech. That's not thought.
What's thought?
Thought is, I want to have this next to my mouth.